Sports 2 with Reggie Chatman.
When you win, I give you the credit. When we don't win, I'll take it. But it's my job to fix it. And I guarantee you this week, we're going to start fixing.
A fiery head coach Ed Orgeron earlier today with a simple message that his team is working to bounce back. Good evening and welcome back. I'm Reggie Chatman with your sports. Not exactly the weekend both LSU and Saints fans had hoped for after a pair of disappointing losses over the weekend. We'll start in Baton Rouge with star cornerback Derek Stingley out for the game on Saturday against Mississippi State. The LSU Tigers had no answers for the Mississippi State Bulldog passing attack as their new quarterback KJ Costello threw for an SEC single game record of 623 yards and 5 touchdowns in the upset win. A poor defensive performance that sent the Tigers back to the drawing board. Sports 2's Matt Trent has more on the steps they've been taking since Saturday's loss.
Is there a more fitting backdrop for a Monday after an LSU football loss? Gloomy, overcast skies with some rain mixed in. But just like the weather, these LSU football woes will lead to brighter days. Ed Orgeron with a message of positivity on this Tell the Truth Monday, saying the team was very encouraged after watching film this weekend, and also added the first person to come to him and tell him that he needed to do better was defensive coordinator Bo Pelini.
You know, Bo gave great speeches on Friday night. He handles the defense. He's very emotional. You know, he's been a head coach. He knows how to talk to the football team. He had the guys motivated. You know, he's been very not apologetic, not humble, but just, hey, you know what? Hey, I could have done better, coach. Very loyal. It hurt, you know, hurt that he didn't do better, hurt that the defense didn't do better, just like we all are. But, you know, I told him, hey, put it on me. We're going to get it fixed. We got to play with more energy. We got to play with more desire. We got to make plays. We got to coach better.
Things are already heading in the right direction on this Monday afternoon as we begin the week of preparation for Vanderbilt on Saturday. Ed Orgeron saying defensive back Derek Stingley should be ready to go as early as tomorrow afternoon. Covering the Tigers, Matt Trent, WBRZ Sports 2, your home for LSU Sports.
All righty, thank you very much, Matt. And quick scheduling note, this weekend, of course, is Vanderbilt. The week after that against Missouri at home in Baton Rouge will be an 8 o'clock kickoff. Now switching gears to the NFL, where the New Orleans Saints didn't make an already tough weekend for Louisiana fans any easier. A second straight loss for the Black and Gold as a late mistake ended up making all the difference against the Green Bay Packers. Saints and Packers in the Superdome was a back-and-forth event for much of the night. One of the biggest highlights of this game was this catch and run by Alvin Kamara. The running back finished with 197 yards total and 2 touchdowns. Just some wizardry getting into the end zone here, and this one set social media on fire. And that would tie the game at 27 heading into the fourth quarter. Later in the fourth, same score. The Saints defense got a big stop on 4th and 1 that would give them the ball back at midfield after the review. But that wouldn't last long as Taysom Hill would cough up the football on the ensuing drive, giving the ball back to Green Bay, who would take advantage with a field goal to give them a 3-point lead, and then later score a touchdown on their next possession. And that would pretty much do it as the Saints lost their second straight, 37-30.
We're not doing enough of the little things well enough to win on a consistent basis. We're going to watch the tape. There'll be some encouraging things, and yet, as a team, there's too many details that we have to improve on. That starts with us as coaches, myself, starting with me.
We got to find more on offense. We got to find more on defense. We got to find more special teams. We all got to do more than what's being asked of us right now. We got to correct the mistakes. It's little things killing us, penalties. Some of the same stuff that went on last week.
We're 1-2, but I know what type of team we got. I know, I know that we could possibly, go on a run here. Because I feel like we got an opportunity to really still do something special, even though the record doesn't say that right now.
A lot of work to do for both LSU and the Saints. We'll see how they do it going forward. Have more news right after this commercial break.
Now, Sports 2 with Reggie Chatman.
We got to protect the quarterback better, and then we got to make better decisions in the pocket. We had some guys open. We didn't hit them. Could have stood up in the pocket and made decisions. I think that's going to come with more experience and with Miles.
Good evening and welcome back. I'm Reggie Chatman with your sports. The way LSU's defense played on Saturday is the thing that stuck out the most in their upset loss to Mississippi State. Quarterback KJ Costello's 623 pass yards broke the single-game SEC record in his first SEC start. Meanwhile, for the Tigers, Miles Brennan's first start wasn't as ideal. But according to Sports 2's Matt Trent, it's time to pump the brakes on some of that harsh criticism of Brennan.
Even though Ed Orgeron said his Twitter machine has been off since the weekend, if you had yours on, you probably saw the harsh criticism from Tiger fans over the play of Myles Brennan. Now look, it wasn't the most glorious of starts ever, but Ed O said after watching the tape, he feels very encouraged by what Myles did right and thinks his mistakes can be corrected, and says Myles' mental state is very strong heading into Vanderbilt.
Gonna get better. See where he made his mistakes. That's Myles. Myles is humble, but he made some good throws though. But he was inconsistent, and obviously we got to protect him. When Myles feels a little pressure, he wants to scramble outside. He's got to sit in there, but sometimes he can't. I mean, he's trying to avoid. So I think it all comes to the protection first. Easy throws where he can make decisions, put our playmakers in space, let them make plays, throw them the ball, and take shots. I think that he needs to get rid of the ball a little bit quicker, a little bit hesitant in the pocket, stay in the pocket a little bit more, have better pocket presence, and make better decisions. I think it's a combination of both.
A deeper dive into box score and the archives will tell you that Myles Brennan didn't do as bad as everyone thought he did against Mississippi State. For LSU quarterbacks in their first start, in their first SEC start, Myles Brennan tops all of them in touchdowns, yards, and completions. Covering the Tigers, Matt Trent, WBRZ Sports 2, your home for LSU Sports.
All righty, thank you, Matt, for some of that perspective. Let's have a little bit more. Let's take a look at a quick moment to compare Brennan to the Tigers' most recent starter before him. And now looking back at it, it looks impossible, but Joe Burrow threw for a mere 140 yards and no touchdowns in his starting debut for the Tigers in an upset win over the 8th-ranked Miami Hurricanes back in 2018. Of course, he would eventually turn into the most accomplished passer in SEC history and has gone on to the NFL, so you really never know. Now, speaking of the NFL, the New Orleans Saints are also coming off a loss this weekend, a game where the Saints couldn't keep up with Aaron Rodgers and the Packers' offense because of the mistakes they made both on offense and on defense. The Black and Gold gave up 80 yards on penalties, including critical ones like 2 late pass interference calls on Janoris Jenkins that kept the Packers' drive alive just before the 2-minute warning. Linebacker Demaro Davis also had a penalty on that drive, but the biggest mistake by the Saints team was the fourth quarter fumble by Taysom Hill that led to the field goal that ended up being the difference in the game. Head coach Sean Payton believes that his team, to some degree, is struggling to find some identity.
You're frustrated as a coach because that starts with us, and we've got to do a better job. We've got to get ready to play a better game against Detroit. That's our industry. We're 1-2 right now, and it's been a while since we felt that, and yet 3 years ago we were 0-2. So a little bit of a gut check, and yet we're not playing well enough. Let's not fool ourselves. We're making too many mistakes, and we're not playing disciplined enough on both sides of the ball, and that's really just the truth.
It's going to take some work if the Saints want to turn it around against Detroit on Sunday.
No bet. Reggie, thank you.